Rover to Pathfinder, we're at 10,000 feet and continuing descent. Rover to Pathfinder, we're picking up something unusual in sonar down here. Approaching for visual. Oh my god.
Don't worry, everybody. Don't worry. Don't worry, lobster people. Aquaman is here. I mean, I see that I'm already here. That's aqua-erd. Huh? Here's the show! Hey there, fandom buddies. What do you get when you combine 37% obsessive Aquaman cosplay redesign, 43% returning to one of my favorite conventions, and 72% fantastic fandom interviews with Grace Ramona of Grace Ramona Cosplay, professional comic book artist Chris Marinan, actress and voiceover artist Karen Strassman, and our friend Rebecca Green of Rad Lady Cosplay? That's right, you get 152%. No matter, this isn't Fandom Math Shop, it's Fandom Workshop. And we're heading back to Kraken Con to live and breathe this incredible Northern California convention. But first, let's head to the studio for a chat with Grace Ramona of Grace Ramona Cosplay to talk shop and pick her brain about the greatest hero of the seas, Aquaman. Joining us in the studio today is Grace of Grace Ramona Cosplay. Grace, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. Now, you do an amazing Aquaman cosplay, and I want to talk to you about that, but I wanted to start by asking you a little bit about when you got into cosplay and what really drew you into this wonderful art form that we all love so much.
So I started cosplaying a little bit over a year ago, and my first cosplay was Winter Soldier.
Ooh, fun.
So one of my favorite characters. So I was like, yeah, I want to do this.
Yeah.
This seems fun.
It was like just after the movie came out, so there's a lot of hype
right around
for
that
it.
time, and there was a lot of hype, and I was,
Nice.
I was like, I can kind of make stuff.
And that's a great introductory cosplay. And since then, you've done some other characters. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
So I've done Pit from Kid Icarus.
Awesome.
I've done some League of Legends stuff.
Nice. I definitely wanted to ask you about that because you've done a couple of characters. I'm not that familiar with League of Legends because I don't LOL. I LOL, but I don't LOL. So I'm not that familiar. So any edification you could provide would be greatly appreciated.
So I do Jinx, and she's the one with the big shark.
Oh, the shark cannon.
Yeah, the shark-shaped blaster.
I've seen those around at a few conventions, and like they're super gorgeous.
Yeah, so I had a lot of fun building that one, and it was kind of tough because I realized SAC Anime was in about a week, and I didn't have anything, and I did it in about 3 days.
That's usually down to the wire how it goes.
Yeah. And then I do Sejuani as well.
And that was the kind of like Viking-ish sort of aesthetic. Now, one of the things I wanted to ask you about that one was you had a really intricate like LED system for like these different like gem crystals and like horns. was this your first time working with LED lighting in cosplay?
Yeah, so I wasn't really sure when looking at the character design. I really love how she looks, but I wasn't really sure how to illuminate the gems because they do kind of glow a little bit in the artwork.
Yeah, it's hard to like figure out how to translate that into real life. Yeah.
So I kind of just
set it
went
up
for it.
Yeah. So you just started with some LEDs, and it looks fantastic.
Thank you.
And then, as well, we wanted to talk about your fantastic Aquaman work. Now, I wanted to ask you, because I know why I love Aquaman so much, what drew you to Arthur Curry as a character?
He's one of my favorite characters, DC, in the DC universe.
We know that you're more of a Marvel person.
Yeah.
I don't discriminate, Marvel or DC. I love them both.
So I wanted to do some like battle armor type thing with him because that's what I love to do. I love to build armor and
your armor,
do that kind of stuff.
And your armor is gorgeous. Now, you went about this project as your own unique original design, starting with your sketches. But I wanted to ask, did you pick and choose different elements that pre-existed, or was it more of an original concept?
It was mostly more of an original concept. For the trident, I used stuff from the Injustice video game art, so the trident is pretty close to that. For the breastplate, I drew a lot of inspiration from other cosplayers who've done battle versions of like Ariel and that kind of stuff.
The Disney princess battle armor.
Yeah. So I drew inspiration from that with like the clamshell top and stuff like that.
And you accented a lot of the different armor pieces with more of a nautical theme, with like the starfish we have here on your shoulder armor. And I really love these really like nautical rope accents on all the pieces. I think it's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. Now, what was the process of creating these armor pieces like? I mean, we've gone from concept to creation, because I know that you worked with EVA as well as Warbler.
Yes.
So you did Warbler-coated armor pieces as well as like some soft EVA pieces as well.
Yeah, so it's mostly foam cut out into a pattern and covered in Warbler, but the clamshells are straight EVA foam, dremeled down into the right shape. Then the rope is just twisted pieces of Warbler, like in elementary school with the snake, and then you twist it.
Awesome! Just bringing back those grade school talents.
Yeah. So I had a lot of fun with it, and then I painted it.
Yes, and I wanted to ask you about your paint too, because your paint job is incredible. It's immaculate. You do an excellent job of the shadows as well as the highlights to really make the different armor pieces pop. And I wanted to ask, have you been painting since before cosplay, or is it something like a skill you acquired during the process of getting into cosplay?
Yeah, so I have been studying art for a really long time, since I was really little. So I have some prior experience with painting.
Oh, perfect.
And so I have drawn on that and used that in my cosplay.
Awesome. And it definitely shows, because as again, your work is incredible, and I'm so glad that you were able to stop by the studio and chat with us for a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
You are very welcome. So I've done a few Aquaman cosplays in the past, and when I was invited to come back to Kraken Con, I really felt like it was the perfect opportunity with the aquatic theme of Kraken Con to redo my Aquaman and really pull out the stops and do something really special. So I brought everything back to the drawing board. I picked the elements that worked and the elements that didn't so I could redo them. And ultimately, the thing that I wanted to keep from my original one was my tights. I was really proud of the way I was able to put together these Aquaman tights with this perfect leg fin shape in the back. I made these little plastic fins that give me this awesome smooth fin shape to the back of my calf. So after that, I decided what I was going to work on that didn't work previously. I wasn't really happy with the way my top had turned out as well as the belt, and I knew I wanted to add some more armor elements. So I went back to the drawing board with those. I started working on the top, and to do that, I was inspired really heavily by some
fantastic cosplayers that I had seen on a Facebook group called the Spidey Society. And these folks do an amazing job of recreating the suits and textures from various Spider-Man costumes that have existed over the years, including the Amazing Spider-Man costume, which had this really fine, detailed hexagon pattern that I really, really liked. And I knew that when I saw that, it would work perfectly for this copper chainmail texture that I really wanted to try and achieve with my Aquaman top. And to complement that, I wanted to create, this similar armored aesthetic with the shoulder armor, belt, and these gauntlets. So to do that, I used a lot of EVA craft foam in varying thicknesses. The shoulder armor also had these segmented arm plates that I attached with an elastic band to keep their flexibility. And by the end of the day, I wound up with a redesign of a costume that I had done a few times already that I was just infinitely proud of. I could not have expected it to turn out as well as it did from when I started. And, it was really, really something special.
So Stephen Doherty convinced me to come back for Kraken Con. The con's so nice, I came back again. We're going to be hosting the cosplay competition, their charity auction, and all around having a great time talking to some amazing guests. Have you ever noticed that I'm on escalators a lot? Anyway, let's go have some fun. So the thing you need to understand is all of your favorite comic book characters, if you envision them in your mind, you're probably thinking of the way they're designed by this guy. Chris Marinan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to talk to you about some of the characters that you've done over the years, because you've worked for DC, Marvel, just a number of different companies. Of all the characters that you've done over the years, are there any that hold special places in your heart?
Captain America.
Yes!
Just because he is just the all-American guy, and he's just, I always thought that someday I could do what he did, like jumping off buildings and just taking on the average criminal,
Yep.
So, and him and Spider-Man.
See, I didn't even have to prompt you on these answers, but you nailed it. Like, you got the exact answers I wanted.
Those are tough ones.
Oh yeah. Now, over the years, doing all, taking up characters that had been done before you, and kind of giving them your own spin, your own design. How do you approach taking, what is already an established iconic character and really making it uniquely your own?
It's just, I didn't really go into it thinking like that. I was basically just trying to get the work done on time. Nice. And I wanted to look as good as the other guys were doing. I mean, I did aspire to look as much like John Buscema, and he's one of the big Marvel artists, and John Romita,
yes,
and Steve Ditko, who really made Spider-Man, who created Spider-Man, and I was influenced by them quite a bit, and other artists like Jim Steranko really informed my work. So generally, I just try to think, what would that artist do, And the other artists of the day who really influenced me, like Frank Miller, I would always have their work at the back of my mind to try to make it look as good, as graphically communicative as possible to reach the audience.
Yep.
Well, I mean, speaking of your style, I also wanted to talk on the dynamic use of angles you use in your panels. How do you begin that sort of a process, choosing how to position a character in space in such a way that really just draws the eye? Because looking at some of your work without words, just your art alone, it's such beautiful, dynamic visual storytelling.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just, a lot of times it's just how it comes out. I'll start drawing. What I do is little thumbnail sketches first, which are about this big, and really rough. And a lot of times the most crucial action, points are there, and the gesture is in these little squiggles, and I try to capture that as much as possible and bring it up full size. And when I see it getting away from that, when I'm doing full size, I'll keep looking back at those little squiggly sketches and trying to recapture that.
Oh, that's so great.
And then, once I get, sometimes full size, I'll get it and I'll realize it still needs more, and I'll take a panel. Well, you can't really see it, but it'll be like this, and I'll tilt the guy on his side like that.
Yeah.
And just a little bit of tweaking here and there will add more action or movement to the piece. So I'm always looking at it and seeing how I can push it a little further.
Oh, I mean, your work it lives and breathes that sort of dynamic action.
Thanks.
So I just wanted to compliment you on that. And honestly, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for coming.
Sailing the high seas of adventure. God, I love One Piece. Now, I've been marathoning the show like crazy, so I wanted to talk to Sierra and Andrea about what you guys love so much about One Piece.
Where do you even begin?
Exactly. It's just the fact that it's so extensive. It keeps going and going. Oda, the author, he has so much more ideas that we don't even know about yet. Oh my gosh. And the character development and all these different long, extensive arcs. Oh my gosh. And I just have so many options to choose cosplays for, and all these figures and everything. It's just, oh gosh, the whole overall thing, right?
Yeah, even the filler arcs that aren't supposed to have like the story development type things are the most entertaining thing in the world. I can't.
Oh, I love the movies too.
Yeah, the movies are also
literally-
great.
I haven't watched the movies yet.
You need to.
Oh my
I know I need to watch the
I
movies.
watched them
Oh my
all
God.
in like 2 nights. Like, I just binged watched all the movies. I've seen Strong World like 15 times. It's like my favorite.
Very cool.
It's my favorite too, yeah. Oh, I'm so excited for the new movie.
Yeah.
I personally, I love the introduction arc in the show where they introduced Chopper for the first time. Oh, that was so sweet, so heartbreaking.
Oh my
I loved
gosh,
it.
I
Every
cried.
time,
Every
so good.
time.
Now, how long have you been watching One Piece?
3 years? Probably about 3 years now.
Since, let's see, 7 years.
Very cool.
I think 7 years.
Now, I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of the longest running animes, and we're still
Yeah.
getting more all the time, which is incredible. And your costumes look
Oh,
fantastic.
thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. Wow, cool book. Do you spells?
You're watching Fandom Workshop. Where am I? Hello?
I've changed clothes. I'm an Aquaman now. We're gonna go check out some more con stuff, but there's just a lot of escalator shots at these conventions. Weird.
fantastic Rita Repulsa and Dino Thunder White Ranger. Now, Rita, I wanted to ask you, why Rita Repulsa?
Because she's evil.
Just because she's evil? Is that all you like about the character?
Of course.
Oh, wonderful.
And she's a queen.
Yes, and a very excellent one at that, very diabolical one.
Yes.
Now, your costume is fantastic. I wanted to ask, what were some of the hurdles that you approached going into building this particular costume?
Really, it's getting started. I don't know where to start, and so I just started with the dress and then just kept going with it.
Now, what has the fan reaction been so far at this con?
Well, it brings back people's childhood.
Yep.
Because they remember. It's like some people are too old or too young and they don't know who I am. I know.
For shame.
I know.
And of course, we've got the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie coming out.
Right.
Bit of a redesign for Rita Repulsa, but I do appreciate the classics. I grew up with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers myself, so as soon as I saw you walking down the hall, I was like, yay! And you absolutely fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. Whoa, hold the phone. What's going on? Did we run out of time or did we run out of episode?
Evan, you contemptuous fool. You flew too close to the sun on your wings of suck. Did you not realize that Kraken Con is too awesome to be contained in a single episode?
Ah, Director Dan, I see I am in error. Well then, stay tuned for the Part 2 conclusion of Fandom Workshop's return to Kraken Con. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And drop us a line at fandomworkshop@gmail.com and let us know what you're a fan of. And in the meantime...
Evan!
Yes?
If you don't roll the credits now, I will drown you in glue.
Boop?